because he was saying to people to be baptized to show that they had turned from their sins to God and received forgiveness for their sins. His emphasis was on turning, but also showing and evidencing that there was a genuine turning away from the old to the new. When you get offered a gift, you have a choice of what you do with that gift. You have a choice of how you respond. And maybe it's useful sometimes to think of salvation as a bit like we're being given a tool. And when you get given a tool, let's imagine for a moment you get given a gift of an electric screwdriver. You have a choice. You could say, wow, that's fantastic, I've got an electric screwdriver. And you can leave it in the box. Or you could go, wow, I've got an electric screwdriver. I'm going to take it out of the box and put it on the shelf, and so that when everyone comes into my house, they can see the electric screwdriver that I've been given. Or you can say, oh, that's great, and leave it in its packaging, and it starts to gather dust in the back of the cupboard. Or you can get it out and you can put all the bits together and you can do it, and then the battery runs down and you decide, oh, actually, you know, I'm just going to put it away because actually I've got a new toy to play with now. Or you can use the electric screwdriver for the purpose that it was given, which is to screw screws into a wall. Salvation is something which is not meant to be kept in the box. It's not meant to be something that we put away in the back of the cupboard, or we put it on a shelf and say to everybody who comes around, well, look, you know, I became a Christian on the 7th of September 1937. You know, there is a sense of Christianity and salvation is so much more than that. Because the message of salvation is that we are being saved from our sins. And we see that sin is rubbish, it gets in the way of God. Sin causes pain, it causes damage, it causes a lot of heartbreak, and you only have to look at the news to see what happens when sin runs rampant. We get irate about the injustices in the world. You know, we're going through at the moment on the news the murder of a woman walking home at night, and the incensed community, and the response that even goes up to our future Queen, who's saying this is wrong. Man's inhumanity to man is wrong, and we rightly have a sense of crying out for justice. That's why Jesus' death on the cross is so important, because it was about justice. It was about dealing with sin, because an unjust God would not deal with sin. An unjust God would just say, oh, it's all right, we don't have to give an account for the murder of that woman. Yes, there needs to be an account taken for the murder of that woman. It was horrific. It was wrong. Sin needs to be dealt with, which is why Jesus dealt with it, so that we could be free of its power. And if we leave that gift of salvation in the box, we will never know the power of freedom. We will never see the healing that God offers through salvation if we don't embrace the gift that God has given us. It's not a one-off prayer. And I think when we get to heaven, we'll be surprised at who is there and who isn't there. And I saw something recently of a video of a guy arriving in hell, and the line to him was, oh, so you thought that praying a prayer once off in your life would keep you out of hell, did you? Salvation is an ongoing choice to walk with God. And my question to you is, if Christianity became a crime tomorrow, would there be enough evidence to convict you? Are you living life in a way that shows you've made a choice to stand up for God? Is there enough to show that you're living for God? Is there enough to show that you're walking the walk and you're talking the talk, that you are using the gift that God has given you and enjoying the freedom and the power of God's salvation at work in your life? Let me challenge you. John says if you are serious about following God, then baptism is a way to show that. And the same is true today. If you haven't been baptized, will you consider getting baptized to show you're serious about following God? Who rules your life?